Hello, everybody. I'm Kevin. You know that. I don't know why I said that. We're on Zoom, so the presentations are always a little iffy to start, but here we go.
It's good. It's good because you never know. I might take this recording and share it with the dean. So go ahead and start, and y'all introduce yourselves as you go along.
Okay. So we are here to present 48 Moods, an interactive storytelling experience. This might be totally unknown to you, or you might be in this class and have contributed greatly to 48 Moods itself. But no matter what your experience level is with 48 Moods, we're going to get you caught up and make sure you understand its importance, why we want to expand it further from the Instagram page that it currently is, and the work that we've done so far and the work that still needs to be done in order to make this a reality. So humans are more confident in our memories if they involve emotion. And also social media should be social. Jake Burton said this in a Wired by Design talk. It was about the future of museums. And I know that right now museums are having some of them are reopening in states like Texas. Some of them are having a difficult time transferring from the tangible to the digital. And others I might be talking too loud. Others are using new technologies to make their museums more immersive. But ultimately, the point of all these things are to involve our emotions and to spark communication. And so what story does Moody's lobby currently tell? It's loud. It's mostly tile floors and wood features. There's nothing really to absorb the sound. You can hear coffee beans grinding. There's students yelling to their cohorts across the hall. A softness is brought to this space by that large wood paneled wall, but it does little to tie the space together or to spark communication. And ultimately, this is a communications building. So how can we spark that communication? Introducing Hi Moody, how are you? Savannah, do you want to talk about the team?
Sure. So, or if you guys want to, we can go ahead and introduce ourselves that we played in order to bring this together. Chris, you can go ahead.
My name is Chris Connard, and I served as the creative director for a lot of the three-dimensional objects you see in the mock-up that you'll see later on.
And Sasha is not here, but she played the role as the aesthetic designer for the emojis and the whole aesthetic, I guess, of that piece.
And I'm Kevin. I'm the producer. I worked on the forward, gathering research and information for this, and making sure tasks got completed.
And I'm Savannah, the proposal and presentation designer.
I'm Laura, and I was the writer for this piece.
I'm Logan Smith, and I helped design the system and spec out what it would take to make this project a reality.
I'm Sure. I'm one of the researchers for similar exhibitions.
And so currently 48 Moods is an experiment in collective storytelling. It's an Instagram page added to and critiqued by this experimental storytelling class, headed by Professor Erin Riley. Bi-weekly, students are called to respond to hashtag prompts with an image and a haiku. And why a haiku, you may ask? This is to help creatives begin exploring simple storytelling. In total, a haiku is only 17 syllables long. What can you tell in 17 syllables? Well, the simplicity of this exercise helps students build a lasting creative process. The hope for the future is that 48 Moods becomes an exercise beyond just this class. Creatives will continue with their simple storytelling after completing the course and even after graduating UT. The implementation of this exhibit with 48 Moods as its exemplar, we will bring 48 Moods out of people's phones and into the public into a tangible meets digital piece that sparks communication. In order to do so, we looked at other exhibits from the past and present that are now working that we saw as examples. Sure, do you want to speak to some of these successful pieces that we saw and how we saw them fitting into what we wanted to create?
Yes, could you go to the next slide, please? It's
Yeah.
froze for me. Yes, thank you. During our research, we picked out these 4 successful examples that integrate digital and tangible touch points, like Kevin just said, to engage people on a deeper level and see how they can be tied into the 48 Moods. The Lego Playbox is a wall of interactive Lego bricks that function as a 3D mirror to mimic visitors' figures and movement. Children and parents are able to form shapes and narratives together with body languages, which is reflected in real time onto the Lego wall. They can also share their creations across social media with the Playbox hashtag. Started as a social media project, 48 Moods embodies a similar shareability and connectivity that are essential in enlivening Billow's lobby space. We hope to encourage people to discover and share this proposed 48 Moods installation across social media as well. Also, the idea of witnessing our own behaviors, movement, and even part of our identities reflected onto a public installation could form the tie between the space and us. And a second color space installation is an interactive sculpture that allows people to send text and emojis to a phone number and transforms them into colored animated lights along the wall. The colors would correspond with moods embodied by their text message. Similarly, 48 Moods could utilize the power of text and colors to make people more aware of the affective and cognitive associations they make, enhancing their sensibilities within themselves and towards their surroundings. Furthermore, the 48 Moods installation can turn Billow's lobby into a dynamic and participatory space and foster the exchange of energy and emotions inside the building by encouraging people to share a slice of life and choose their own emojis with the buttons on the installation we proposed. Next slide, please. This multi-screen installation for Nike China Logistics Center visualizes a notion of energy and light feed data during the center's operation. The look is based on the concept of efficiency and sustainability that represents the center's identity. We also hope to represent our community's diverse identities through a multi-screen installation. As is mentioned before, we propose to use social media to curate real-time contributions with the 48 Moods hashtag and reflect them dynamically onto multiple screens to showcase each individual's thought process and personality, enhancing their sense of ownership of the community space. Lastly, the multi-touch art lens wall displays and categorizes museum artworks currently on view. In the case of 48 Moods, the curated posts could be grouped and displayed on installation according to different emojis they press, themes, hashtags, and color schemes. Through a guided discovery, participants could see other individuals' interpretations of the same theme and connect with others. We were also considering the possibilities that people could combine different elements from each category to create their own post on the spot. This idea is not as good in its proposal yet, but we're considering this spontaneous creation opportunity. By incorporating playful moments as such in Billow's lobby, this 48 Moods installation could offer people something fun, unexpected, and rewarding on their way in and out of the building, facilitating their emotional attachment to the physical space and the community within.
throughout the semester, we were encouraged to share pieces with our corresponding emojis. And so we wanted to bring that into the interactive piece as well. Laura, do you mind speaking some to your research on emojis?
Absolutely. Give me those slides. All right. So with our new younger generations reaching college, emojis are becoming a form of major communication in the digital age. They make text more human and expressive, give it a little bit of tone. And now emojis are even treading into the space of saying things that we don't know how to say in words or have been taught not to say out loud about our mental health. We've had a few examples that are cited in the back of this book about how emojis are becoming part of psychological practice, helping people put words to feelings that they don't understand, or helping people communicate a little bit easier without having to go into detail to someone about what's going on in their heads, especially among our younger age. There's even an app out there that's not mental health use specifically, but it's targeted at college students and enables them to take a selfie, caption it with an emoji, and either save it for themselves as a mental health journal of sorts, or send it to a friend to share how they're feeling. It's actually doing very well, and it's very similar to what we're hoping to do here, with people being truly honest about how they're feeling and telling us.
And Chris, can you speak to the next part, which is making this a reality? How will, what we'll do?
So when we initially proposed this project to Aaron, we discussed a couple of different places that it could happen. But one of the places that Aaron suggested was this space inside of the lobby at Moody. In her conversations with the dean of the college, I believe, they talked about how this space was just was super eager to have some sort of larger installation involved there. And some of the challenges of creating an installation in this space are that we don't want any kinds of three-dimensional objects to protrude too far, because it does serve as a major artery, if you will, of movement throughout that building. We also wanted it to be something that could exist throughout the different times of day, because the space is has lots of natural light that comes in, whether it be during the day or at night. So we wanted an installation that went along with all of those things. We wanted something that wasn't going to be terribly distracting and sort of could blend in, but could also be engaging to an individual walking by. We wanted an object or a sculpture that could engage the viewer as they walked by, but not be so distracting that whenever somebody engaged with it, they would be targeted, or somebody would know that they were necessarily interacting with it. One of the other things that we played with were the repetition of form of squares. So Instagram posts are square, the images are square. And as you can see, these wooden panels are also square, the tiles are square. And there's lots of this motif or this theme of squares going along. So we thought we might be able to utilize that. Moody has a specific color palette that is required of any kind of branding within their college. So we had to utilize those colors as well, while also maintaining that we might have the ability to change those colors depending on holidays or time of year, or certain things that may happen throughout the year. The idea is that this exhibit would serve as a way or a platform of news of the building or of the department, right? So that individuals could sort of give a day-by-day update of how they're feeling, and the installation itself would respond to the individuals as they came in and entered and existed in the building. So every day the installation would be different, but would be made up of the artwork or the things that the individuals had created. So playing on Daniel Johnston's "Hi, How Are You" frog, which is painted over on Grad, it's been there for quite some time now. It's this large frog. Anyways, it's this large frog that was painted on the side of Thai How Are You, or before that was another restaurant. But it's been there for 20 years or so. But the idea is that playing into Austin and understanding what Austin is, we could play with that and say, "Hi, Moody, how are you?" Essentially, this installation responds to individuals coming by, and they have an option to select an emoticon that they're feeling on that day. So at the bottom, you'll notice that there are 6 different emojis, and as they go by, they can sort of punch one or hit it as they walk by. And this will ultimately tally all of the emotions of the building as they're going by, and would then respond accordingly. So if you have lots of sad faces, perhaps the images that come up are going to be lots of puppies and happy things, and we respond accordingly, right? depending on the time of year it is, or depending on whether or not some sort of national emergency is happening, these screens could be taken over and could be utilized for other purposes. So if some sort of large news thing is breaking across campus or across the globe, these could be taken over and could be showing the news. Similarly, they could be showing images from the Instagram account, the 48 Moods account, and you could post as an individual walking by, tagging hashtag 48 Moods, and then you could see your image come up on the screen, provided it followed a couple of rules. The other thing that you'll see is there's integrated LED neon that's sort of connecting these webs of windows, if you will. These windows are square screens, 4x3 screens. So they would allow us to display the image in its original form and also display the haiku if we decided to do so. This would also, the LED neon serves as a network, which is sort of playing into the idea that this social network that we all talk about is also something that's physicalized and is incredibly important in maintaining everyone's creativity and innovation, and also maintaining sanity inside of the building. This sort of plays to the idea that we're all connected in some way, shape, or form, and we need to take care of one another. And I think especially considering how COVID has affected the entire globe and affected the United States, an installation like this will become even more important. We've been taught that we shouldn't be touching things, and we shouldn't be interacting with things, and we shouldn't be coming in contact with physical objects. But an installation like this might challenge us to do the same things that we had done before, in a way that could be clean and controlled, and also ask us to share our emotions when maybe no one else is asking.
Thank you very much, Chris. Looking at how this will end up looking, we wanted to play with, instead of using like a standard iPhone or Android emoji look, we wanted to play with how could we moodify these emojis, and blurring the line between that aesthetic and what an emoji could be. The contemporary look of this installation is accented by these neon lines throughout all of these screens that show a connectedness between the Moody community, and the array of emoji buttons. Oh, thank you very much. You might have to do some scrolling up and down. The array of the emoji buttons take a new look on the emoji formula, reinforcing the colors of the Moody School and the movement as people go through. The emoji buttons offer that simple interaction that can be seen on the screens through a pulsing network of lights. On the actual images themselves, you can see them in their full beauty as they are displayed on Instagram, with these floating text boxes, for lack of a better word, of these haikus that are elegantly displayed with the Moody colors and the Moody branding. So you can see the story that goes along with the picture in a very clean and elegant way. Because of the digital nature of this project, we can actually showcase more than just static imagery, but also animations and video that have a more wider appeal to audience participation. And because each video and animation and image is associated with a haiku, we can then create a little story world inside of each one of these panes that creates a bigger story in itself. Now, to make this happen is going to take an effort. It is a rather simple network of these 0 client controllers, which are plugged into each one of these displays that receive video over network commands from a host computer. Now, on that computer, it is running a software called Monitors Anywhere. And in that software, you can create a digital display wall in any orientation with any amount of screens, as long as you have 1 license per screen. And each one of those licenses runs at about $125 a piece, just for numbers wise. To that is also controlled by each one of those buttons. It is plugged into the computer through an Arduino controller. We can stay on this slide right here. And inside of that, there will be running a program called Touch Designer that will be siphoning in the content from Instagram, making it look pretty, beautifying all of that stuff that we're looking at in our aesthetic and in our mockups, and then displaying that through the Monitors Anywhere controller to each one of those displays. These are called discrete displays or discrete surfaces because each one can be individually controlled. And that's why we require a vaster network of displays instead of simply one giant or one cable, essentially. The nature of video work. I believe that is what I want to talk about, how things plug into everything. We have pared this down significantly from the first time we presented. In order to make this level of interaction work, it would require approximately $9,600 of equipment. It can be pared down more. It can be put down to a smaller scale, but I feel like the intention of the connected nature of Moody could be lost. Such as like less buttons, less screens. We lose some of the grandioseness and the spectacle of this installation that could make it intriguing and enticing as people come by.
I can speak to that as well, Logan. We discussed with the team quite a bit what the consequences would be of making the installation smaller than it is already. And one of the things that we found to be very important with proposing this project is that we didn't want to bring the project down to a level where it was going to be less impressive as a proposal, because we do have a little bit of playing space here where we could pull it back slightly and it would still have the same kind of awe and power. But if we brought it down even lower and then there was even more concern about the cost, then we might not be able to have the project happen. So we wanted to still have the project look the way that it needs to look in order to be a good selling point and have a little bit of wiggle room as far as where we could go. As far as the cost is concerned, it's kind of hard to know exactly what the cost would be of actually installing this. We would have to get some quotes from a couple of contractors, and those contractors would have to be approved through UT. So I would imagine there are specific concerns there, and that would be a much longer conversation. And as Logan mentioned, this is just for the cost of the materials, but this doesn't cover the costs of programming and paying graphic designers and people to actually generate all of this content to do all of these things. There are a variety of ways that can be gone about, but that could even be a class that is had where the class is, the first portion of the semester is just about designing that system and implementing that artwork. And so I think there are a lot of different options to be had here. And there are also options to collaborate with other departments and other schools across campus who might be interested in helping bring this to fruition.
Speaking on the classes, note that Chris just mentioned, this has been done successfully in the Department of Theater and Dance for several years now. We have had classes that have produced velociraptors, escape rooms, and in the future, robots for our productions. And in those classes, students learn how to create systems and, like, with an actual product at the end, show off their skills and learn new skills together. And on a, little more unsavory note, because it is students, it costs significantly less. But that is what I wanted to say about that. I want to toss it back over to Kevin to explain further about how this will all end up working.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned the cost of students, Logan, because that's something that comes into play into how it could work. 48 Moods is meant to be a continual exercise in simple storytelling, and we believe that this exhibit should echo that. And so in order for the exhibit to continually expand, we want to form further partnerships with this. So first, the exhibit will begin with our class favorite Instagram posts. Users interacting with this exhibit will respond with their current emotion or with their corresponding set of emoji buttons below. And then from that will be dependent on the emoji responses to the images and to the overall mood of the school. Like Chris had mentioned, there will be tragedies that affect things. There will be football victories that will change the overall mood of the school. Maybe elections that affect the mood in a positive way. Who knows? Not to get too political here, but then dependent on those responses, the pieces will be curated by the emoji response. And how could they be curated? Well, right now we have Dr. Wilcox's social media students are currently gauging how the school and how students and visitors are interacting with the school on all social media accounts. They're tracking everything that's Moody related. And so with a partnership with that class, which is, you have to get in by an application. So there's a high demand to get into that course. And so if we can expand upon that partnership, they can follow along with their Koros software and try to gauge what the emotional response of the school currently is. And ultimately the goal of this is to spark communication, to create that dynamic of one big Moody family. So yes, the partnerships proposed in this work will probably not be seamless. They'll take time to develop. Right now, Moody is incredibly siloed. Texas Creative has only just begun partnering with Texas Media and Analytics, even though they've been around for a long while. Journalism majors hardly venture to the fourth floor. And despite the wide array of talent in the advertising and public relation majors, RTS students are often searching outside of the school for assistance on their projects. Moody needs a piece like this to help foster a more familial atmosphere. Moody needs to finally communicate. It's the school of communications. And this will be a catalyst for that communication. Well, thank you very much. Does anyone else in the group have anything to say before we wrap it up?
I just want to say I'm really proud of what the team has pulled together over the past couple of weeks, especially considering COVID-19 and especially considering the what was done before our time. I think we've done a really great job and set a different kind of standard moving forward. And I'm really impressed with all the work that's been done. So yeah, I think you should all be proud.
Yeah,
Seconded.
I would love to echo Chris's comment. See, kind of watching y'all in the background in Discord, seeing what you've done, really being open to the idea of pushing beyond what a book could look like to actually moving into a more interactive installation, which is where I want Texas Immersive to go, because the first thing we do in audience development engagement is explore space. So I think this is a really kind of nice next step of it, from exploring it to actually starting to design it. Overall, fantastic. You know, I think you really took a lot of the notes when we did the walkthrough before we actually went. I can't even think of what we did. Like, disappeared into our homes when we did the walkthrough. I think we did that
the Wednesday before.
Yeah, was it the Wednesday before? Yeah. So this has all been done long distance since the Wednesday before.
We all assumed that we would be able to come in and get measurements and take proper photos, but like literally Logan and I, as we were walking out, snapped a few photos like, yeah, you know, and then that's what we had to use to actually do this, you know, and thank God Logan took some good photos, because like I was like, we'll get them later, like whatever.
My photos had people lingering all through them.
Right. No, I actually love it. I love the use of emojis. Emojis is something I've thought of over and over again in thinking about how they are a language that even goes beyond words to describe people's feelings and emotions. I think this is very timely to get to help the Moody family, the one big Moody family, start thinking about how we're feeling as we start stepping back into physical spaces. I like the tie of like doing kind of a touch point of people's emotions on a daily. I like also how in the background of the infrastructure, the architecture that you built, that this doesn't have to be just about 48 moods, which I actually love, but that it can expand into, you know, like when Longhorns wins a game or a holiday, you know, or something, a big event happening at Moody. I forgot when we were doing the walkthrough, but there actually is a computer room and a whole like system space, because, you know, the lecture hall is right behind there. So I was sitting there thinking, oh, wow, they already have a computer there. I bet you that the whole system could be plugged into there, so it would be close by. So I think that it's a really doable architecture. I think also it could improve the monitors that are already currently set up around Moody, if they start thinking about this monitors everywhere approach. So I think you've given the dean and the leadership of Moody some additional information to think about how we can start making our walls not only interactive, but breathable and livable.